Hello and good afternoon. I am your host Elijah Nosware. This is our episode 30. Coming aliala nyamina drum mama ninga munat na jantala drum katandal kom like kelo ke kan kula mi alon ko aba gambe sambla nyatola. First la na starting COVID-19 na impact la towards our business la ndara fulon ko na jibe musola do ko baka kola su ko min take kan because of the COVID-19 la and bila afena na dunga na do wana ko min keta COVID-19 ay tertiary institution affect nyamina and also mbaduna transport la karola. But then kata account coming ala nyamina drum I will give a floor to my panelists la pro I have introduce nang then adung show na proper. Hello and welcome to the Gloden Bee Revolution.
Thank you very much, Alaji. It's a pleasure being on this platform, a platform that gives voice to people who have aspired to be able to inspire other people.
Right.
So it's a pleasure being here.
One thing before I go into the questions of this program, I think I would like to make a quick rundown of who Mr. Sang is. Many times you'll be surprised to ask, wow, why are you that someone who is always confident if you're facing the camera or whatever you're doing? My reply to those people is, how can I be someone who will be scared who has been trained by Mr. Sang? I have gone through so many things that I will be like, do you think I can do it? But knowing that the basic skills I learned from him, which was on the football side, was not only a lesson that I was learning for football, but it helped me to develop my career into so many things. And we did a deep research about something about you, and I was lucky enough to understand that I got a name for you, and a name that has a connection to someone you love so much. The lyrics might go like this: time is so serious, and it continues, knowing that Admiral Tibek is someone who is loved by you, and he's nicknamed with the word Mr. Reality. And lucky enough, I found you a new name, which is Mr. Reality. I hope this name will do a lot. And I got you something that could have been fufu, because I know your love for fufu is just very, very powerful. I am just overwhelmed. I am just like, I cannot even imagine how to say this, because this is like a moment of truth to me, knowing that someone who has contributed greatly in my life, from childhood up to adulthood. I've been watching on you, watching your steps. I've been watching you on Facebook. I was lucky enough to be trained by you, boost my confidence, knowing that whatever I'm going into, I have no fear. I must go, because that was the first thing you killed in me. And I know there are many watching today, it's been said. Funnily too, I came to understand when I shared the poster that you come in the flyer, everyone is saying, wow, my mentor is coming. Then I said to myself, this is not I'm not the only person who is celebrating that I have him as a mentor. I am confident if the Gambia is having many people like Sam, today we will put the Gambia on the strongest ladder without even facing any difficulties. Thank you so much for being who you are. Thank you so much for being a mentor to many of us aspiring to do what we are doing today. Thank you so much for being who you are. Your energy still goes, and I still call you like 23 years old, because when I saw the colors you born on a marathon run that you did on the daily exercises, I'm just so excited to know that you are that person that Gambia always needs to look into you. Your professionality, you've been a teacher, you've been a coach, you've been a mentor to many, and now the managing director of a media academy called Majak, with the nickname is it. So I will give you a floor to say some of the things that I may keep out.
I just felt so emotional with the words that you've used to describe me. Well, I don't really think those words are all applicable to me. I just feel that as a Gambian, or as a human being, you must aspire to inspire other people. And to aspire to inspire other people, that will mean that you have to love doing what you do. And that has always been me. I don't engage into doing things that I don't love doing. Anything I engage into doing, I am passionate about it, and when I am doing it, I try to do it to the best of my ability. I love failure, and I hate failure, and that's what drives me. And that's why when I am with people, all I try to do is to achieve the set objective. And that is also what I use to measure most of the students that I have, most of the players that I've worked with. I always want them to push to become better than who they are, who they are today, who they will be tomorrow. So they believe that every day I need to be better than who I was yesterday. And that has always been my driving force. Yes, while you're doing this, you will come across people who will not appreciate what you're doing. But after they've worked with you for some time and move on, that is the time they will come back to say, I wish, I knew the type of person you were, that you continue doing what you've been doing to me because I've seen the impact. And that in itself is fulfilling. And that's why I don't take pride, of the achievements that I've made, because I believe that I still have a lot more to achieve for humanity. It's not just me, it's about the people that I am serving. And anyone who knows me knows that most of the time, whatever it is that I do it for the interest of the people that I am serving. I am not a leader, I am a servant of the people. That's how I see myself. And even at Majak, where I am the managing director, when you come there and then you ask for the managing director, if you never known me before, you ask for the managing director and they bring you to my office. Sometimes when you look at it, you say, oh no, is this really the managing director? I know. So it feels good to be here, really.
It's a pleasure to hear all this from you. Like a quick reminder to our viewers, this is a show where we celebrate our heroes. It's a show where we bring you here, even if drinking is your talent, we bring you for you to show what you can do.
You should bring me here to show people how to eat fufu, really.
Yeah, that would be very,
because
very amazing.
I see many Gambians, when they're eating fufu, they use a spoon, you know.
I think I will have to bring you on that so
Absolutely,
you can
that
have
would
a
be
lesson
wonderful.
Thank you so much for coming. I can't stop thanking you, and I will be using this word. I think it will be the word of the day. I will be thanking you for every step. I said to some people, it's going to be an interview, but it's also going to be a lesson for me to learn from you, because I know I will be learning from you throughout. I want us to start on this side first. I know you are a man with different suits. You have too many suits to wear, and all these suits are places you wear, and you fashion with them, you succeed. First, I will ask a few to wear the suit of our jersey here. We talk a little bit about the Gambian sports. Then we go into details with the impact of COVID-19, especially to our institutions, which is our main focus here. I have seen the impact of COVID-19 have led us to declare our football league as null, and you have other athletics competitions, like we have a Gina Bass who is representing the Gambia, who has just done an amazing record on the world stage, and we have some other sports, like you have cricket here, which are very, very famous, and I've seen you have been advocating a lot on the wrestling side, which is traditional sports, which the Gambia have no traditional sports that we want to celebrate here, as our Senegal is celebrating wrestling, but we couldn't find any. Can we hear something from you on this side, and we see, is it COVID-19 really affecting this to have a progress on it?
So COVID-19 has become an awakening dilemma for everyone. Since it struck in November in China, if world leaders have taken it seriously, knowing what China is, knowing the amount of people that go into China and come out of China every day, maybe we wouldn't have been here. But people were seeing this as a Chinese epidemic, and then it became a pandemic. When it crossed through borders to all over the world, then people begin to see that business is going to be affected. When planes were all grounded, borders were closed. Business absolutely have to be affected, because aeroplanes and borders are what are the driving force of business, and seaports. Eventually, when all business is closed, and this is a disease that is human to human transmission. Any disease that has a human to human transmission effect, of course, anywhere that people could come together, the likelihood of the disease spreading is always very high.
Very well.
So you will know that almost all sectors of society will be affected. Sure. So in terms of sports, the Olympics, the biggest sporting event in the world, has to be called off, simply because it brings together thousands and thousands of athletes. Sure. It brings together millions of people to watch the games live, and also to sit down as a team, as a family, as a people to watch the games. And while they're doing that, they socialize. So, of course, when COVID-19 became a pandemic, these things have to be called off, because there will be no international travels, there will be no social gatherings, all the borders were closed. And of course, the International Federation for Athletics Association wouldn't have gone into organizing this event, because most of the people would not travel. Countries have closed their borders, and even the organizers, Japan, had closed the borders. So really, it affected the athletics competitions, and some other international athletics competitions that were supposed to be held before the Olympics itself all have to be called off. Athletes bear the biggest brunt, because some of them were supposed to go to this competition, have some endorsement from companies that brand them, and those endorsements wouldn't come until maybe when the Olympic is scheduled again. So athletes, it will also affect the athletes. In fact, it has affected the athletes in terms of their training routine. You wouldn't be able to train as normal as you would have in a normal situation, because you cannot access the stadium. The stadiums were closed. So you wouldn't access the stadium. If you cannot access the stadium, how would you train on your own? Some of them were training in their backyards. Those who, for example, in Africa, for example, in the Gambia, Ginabas, where would she go and train? Maybe on the hills of the Atlantic Ocean, on the river, on the hill bank. So where she can go and sprint on the beach or do some exercise, but it's not the right atmosphere for a sprinter. So it really affected athletics seriously. We come to football, for example, the world's biggest sport. Football couldn't move because the same problems as athletics. All the leagues were suspended in Europe. In Africa, all the competitions were also suspended. The Gambia was on a fine foot of qualifying to the AFCON, and our spirits were so high. Both the players, the fans, the coaches, and everyone. Our spirits were so high. But then, when this Corona thing came, everything went back, and then it came down to the Gambia that our leagues have to be declared null and void, that there is no champion because we only played the first round and the second round was about to start. And then again, the players. What happens to the players? Most of these players, some of them are contracted for a 3-year season or a 2-year season. I'm not really sure if these players are paid every month, even off season. But if they are only paid every month during the season, and in fact during the season they are also paid match allowances, bonuses. If you win, you have a fat match allowance. If you draw, you have a medium match allowance. If you lose, you don't have a match allowance. So players would have loved to play football and continue receiving their salaries, continue their meager salaries, I must say, because I don't think there is any Gambian league club that pays up to $5,000 for a player. Maybe majority of them are within $2,500, and some of them even might be paying just $1,000, for a month for a player. So if players are depending on that to survive, to live, to support their families, this has really impacted a lot on them. So for the Super Nawetan, for example, the Nawetans, this is what keeps people during the summer. It entertains the people, and the GFF also generates a lot of income from the Super Nawetan, for example. So obviously, if there wouldn't be a Super Nawetan, there was no point playing Nawetan. So that area has also been affected. In terms of volleyball, in terms of cricket, all other sports have faced the same thing. I was in a program with someone on a television station, and then this guy said some of the players have even gained weight because they are not like me. They are not like me who keeps exercising every day. In the morning 2 sessions on the bike, and I'll do my aerobics, and in the evening I go jogging. So some players, if you sit down,
of you running and
some players, if they sit down, because they are players, they are people with big muscles and big bones. If you sit down for 2 months without training, you develop some calories, and then you begin to develop some fat.
And your HDLs will also be
of course,
very
and that is what happens. It's obvious when a player goes through an injury, even at international level. If you see the player before he actually starts his routine training, usually he puts up a lot of weight.
Very well,
so it's the same thing that is affecting our Gambian players. So, but then it shouldn't have been, because they have all it takes to have gone on exercise every evening or every morning. You don't need to come together as a team, but individually each of them could have worked alone. So the COVID-19 has really affected sports seriously. All the endorsements, the advertisements, the sponsorship deals, were all struck out. And some of them would not recover from that, because these companies that also advertise with sports organizations that organize events, they also expect really a lot of publicity. The reason why they are actually funding those kind of things is because they want visibility, publicity, and those things never came. So really, COVID-19, well, I hope we will have a learning curve from this. In terms of, in the area of education, it has provided those learning opportunities. But in terms of sports, for example, how can we play sports without spectators?
Exactly.
How can we play sports without spectators? It's going to be really difficult.
They even electrify the players to do more.
Or how do we even invent a new type of football to be played? Where actually people will observe some of these restrictions or regulations and all whatnot. So, so that's it. It really affected sports.
So do you think there is a way out in handling this situation in the Gambia here? What do you think the government can do, or maybe the sport body can do, in terms of dealing with this situation?
Well, nowadays what is happening is that everywhere in the world they are thinking of how to live with the virus, because no one knows when this virus is going to depart this world. So I think the Gambia should also follow suit. The government to sit with the Ministry of Youth and Sport, and also with all the sporting bodies, and they map out a strategy. In fact, apart from the Super Nawetan and apart from wrestling, for example, hardly do you see a sport event that attracts more than 500 people. For example, if matches are to be played at the Independence Stadium, we can observe social distancing. And we will do that very well, because the Independence Stadium, apart from the national team, the Super Nawetan, and the wrestling matches, there is no league game that has been able to fill even one stance of the stadium. So really we can observe social distancing. And then FIFA has pumped in a lot of money in the Gambia. That money is for clubs, really to buy the protective gears, the testing equipment, the protective gears, the hand sanitizers, but it comes up again to say, these players are unlike our European counterparts, who actually maybe live only with their wives, their wife and their kid,
or maybe their girlfriend,
or their girlfriend, and with no kid. But in the Gambia here, most of our players are living with their families, in extended families. So how can they actually do this? It's just routine checkup, and that routine checkup would require that every club would have a trained medical personnel who will be carrying out this routine test on players. Recently, PSG, the players who went on a party came back, and 3 of them actually contracted the virus, because they were routinely checked. That's why they're able to notice that. So the money is not for the club management to take and spend lavishly. The money is supposed, some part of the money is supposed to be for the resumption, preparation for the resumption of the league. And the resumption of the league, we will advocate that the league resumes now, so that our players become fit for under 20 selection, under 17 selection, and even for national team selection. Because if not, the coach will depend on foreign players, and sometimes our home-based players are better.
Yeah.
But if it comes to under 20, we want to see our local-based players selected. If you come to under 17, we want to see our local-based players selected. So some things should be done, and what could be done is to buy protective equipment, and also to buy testing equipment that will be able to conduct these tests for. And then if Alaji and Sang has the virus, we exclude them until when they are okay, they come back. Because every team registers 30 players.
Sure.
But we must learn to live with this virus. Really.
I think there's a very clear message to you that is watching, the director or managers of the team. I think you have learned from this. Let's make the best use of the fund that came to us, not to use it for something different when we still want to depend on these players that are helping us. Mr. Sang, I would love to, like I told you, I know you have a different shoot that you will fashion yourself. We are going to shift to another shoot that you will take off now, and this one will lead us to go to step into the educational side of the program here today. I understand that COVID-19 has and is continuing to disturb this, and you've said one thing which is very, very key from your first statement, that is we have to put mechanisms to live with this COVID-19 because we don't know anytime when this virus will leave us. Niaji bo kono la alafa kala kulto mi ala sabu jahal nari kanna, but na karola how has it affected you?
I think the biggest sector to have been affected is the education sector.
Sure.
Because let me take for example my institution. We never saw this coming.
Sure.
So we didn't have a mechanism as to how to handle
out of surprise.
How to handle it.
Yeah.
It just struck us out of surprise.
Yeah.
When it happened, actually what we did was to sit down and ask ourselves, what can we do? We knew what we wanted to do was to run online classes.
Sure.
But then running online classes require the infrastructure, and when you talk about the infrastructure, you must have the app to run the online course.
Sure.
When you talk about the app, there must be a way to make sure that every student has a smartphone or a laptop or have access to a computer. When we did our assessment, we knew that almost all the students have smartphones. Some of their phones are even smarter than my phone.
Wow.
Now, but then you don't just need a smartphone, you need internet.
Sure.
And that's why I talk about infrastructure. You need internet.
Sure.
Now, when it comes to internet, who is going to provide the internet? Is it the learner or the training provider? Absolutely, it should be on the training provider because the student has already paid a tuition fee or had already registered, and you told the student what the tuition fee was.
Sure.
So not just because of the pandemic, you will raise the amount and then you'll ask the students to buy their own data.
Sure.
Now, if you ask them to buy their own data for for online classes, now if the student is not present in the class, what happens? Because he cannot afford the internet, and internet in the Gambia is way too expensive as opposed to our neighboring country. So when we did all that, we found it very, 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 very disturbing because we knew very well that we couldn't afford to carry on with our online classes for more than a month because we have 148 students, and what we charge for tuition fee at our school is half of what other schools are charging. In fact, quarter. I know very well that there is a journalism training institute that is charging $15,000 for a certificate program, and our certificate program is $7,500.
It's more like 50% discount on.
Yeah. So we knew very well that our students, require an online class.
Sure.
So we tried by all means to offer them a 1-month online class. Of course, with support from a GSM operator that gave us SIM cards tailor-made, special SIM cards,
Yeah.
where the data they provide us could only be used for the classes,
Clients only.
not for WhatsApp, not for Facebook, not for Twitter, not for any other thing. It was only meant for the classes. So we were able to do that for 1 month, but we couldn't continue because it was too expensive. And that goes to all other institutions, even the University of the Gambia.
Very well, yeah.
They started this, but they couldn't continue it. So it really affected the education sector. Now, as far as I am concerned, as an institution, we are looking at how best we can come up with online tutorials, sessions. We're working on having a platform where it will not require our students to come to school for 3 days in the week, which we usually do 3 days in the week. But maybe they will only come 2 days in the week, and one of the days plus the remaining days they could use that to doing assignments or doing some practical work at home, because that is going to be the new norm. In as much as COVID-19 has created a big problem within us in the education sector, it has also opened doors for people to see opportunities and utilize those opportunities. I know some Gambians who have done their first degree and second degree online, and they graduated and they became very good assets of the country. So it is really possible to restructure our programs, but it will not only it's not going to be easy, because it requires even changing your curriculum. Because if your curriculum was to teach people physically in class, now you have to change your curriculum to make sure that you're teaching both online and offline.
Someone may use a code to maybe
absolutely. So because you cannot register for an offline course and all of a sudden someone is teaching you online. It has to be consensual between the two parties that this situation is what is before us, and now we need to change to make sure that we suit the new normal, because this is a new normal. So now, on the side of the students, that was there. On the side of the staff, what do you do with the staff? Do you lay them off? Do you keep them? If you keep them, how much would you pay them? Do you pay them for their full-time salary, or you pay them half salaries? So all those things have to come on play. Now, for a school that depends solely on tuition fee collection, which is with most of the tertiary institutions, you collect tuition fees and you use the tuition fee for administration costs, for salaries, and for rent. Now, if you are not collecting tuition fee, how do you actually run the school?
Once I will paralyze and then it goes.
How do you actually maintain paying salaries? How do you also maintain paying rent? So we at our school, compassionate as we can, cognizant of the fact that these are people that have served us for quite a number of months without any default. We decided that we will pay salaries, but also put a caveat to say that if this continues, we will have to come down to half salary. The staff actually understood, because they knew very well that we depend on tuition fee, all of us. And when that happened, not even me had a full salary. We all went on half salary. Together, myself and the director of training and the accountant and everyone in there, we all went on half salary. We thought this was going to end in 3 months. And then the 3 months came, the 4th month came, things never relent. They keep growing up. Then we wrote to the staff to say, this thing is continuing. If it continues, we will not be in position to pay salary.
And you may run into bankruptcy.
We will not be in position to pay salary. But we are still managing, with the staff that we have, we are still managing to support them in time with regard to the half salary. And we hope we will be able to do that. And we hope very soon that we will be able to, the government will open up, that schools can actually start, and then we start collecting tuition fees again and go back to our normal salaries, and the students come back and take their lessons. Some of them actually, had 4 courses already. They were only left with 2 courses. They should have been out there working or coming to do their next level. So those things were all not possible. So I hope actually the government will look at the tertiary institutions. And finally, I think I must say this. Finally, the government had a bailout package for education, for the education sector.
That was going to be the next question, but I'm scared we will be running for a short break. When we come back, then we will look at that sector, what the government has done. Is there any remedy they're doing to to police this condition, to make it a favorable one? Because we think they are the people that should step in, but institutions that are operating based on private line will be really disturbed in this side in terms of this, if you look at it from this picture. But I think I will learn from this because you are from the institution private side, so you will tell us about that. But first we have to go for a short break, and when you come back we will look into that too. And also I was surprised like Kaja come like he was flowing very well. Kaja ko I conditional I problem alone na be del come from the view from China that I starting Jere Kanana. You'll be surprised to know, but Mr. Sang is someone who travels a lot. He's been to China, he's been to Belgium if I get it right, or Denmark. Denmark, yeah, very well, yeah. So, Kobeka Funyo kind of with other areas like Milkova, make it a sports Kanana on how to deal with COVID-19, the impact on our sports, and now the educational Konola. Then Kona Funyamin, but now another phase Konola. But I will surprise you with few Chinese lines that I learned, which is like Ni Hao, Hua Ni Lai Dao, Wada Jemu. So
maybe you're even better than me.
I learned this from a colleague who said it means hello and welcome to my show.
Okay. So well, I only know Ni Hao Ma.
Oh, I'm so happy you're with me here today. Like I said, the common word will be thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you so much for coming to the Gloden Bee Revolution. We will kick it from where we stopped. That is, we want to know, like, the private institutions, if you look at it, and the shape of the government institutions, government are paying them to their salary. That is like the tax which is collected in other areas will cover them. But private institutions depend highly from the student fees that are paid by the students and you pay them. And this difficulties has been going along. But is there any bond between the private institutions with the government where if sort of things should come out, like what COVID-19 is doing, or maybe you are running out of fund to pay your staffs, the government should step in?
Well, I am not aware of a thing like that. But then we pay tax. Our staff pay tax, and we are a registered institution. When we go to register at the National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority, as an institution, as a training institution, you pay, and every 3 months every 3 years you need to renew your license. Our trainers also, anytime they want a license to train, they must go through the accreditation process, and that is also money. We contribute to the socio-economic development of this country. Most of the institutions, tertiary institutions, private tertiary institutions are churning out a lot of people that are serving in our public and in our private sector. So we are a key player as far as the development of this country is concerned, because without tertiary institutions, there would be a gap in development.
Very well.
Because these tertiary institutions, especially the TVET technical vocational education centers, these are institutions that actually train skilled people to go out there and work in our construction site, to go out there and work as journalists, to go out there and work as auto mechanics, to go out there and work as carpenters and all whatnot. So these TVET centers, they are contributing to the socio-economic development of the country. If a situation like this happens, they've never asked for any form of support from the government from the beginning. If this happens, and you ask them to lock down, and the very day you ask them to lock down, that very day they close all their institutions, they are going to suffer.
Very well.
They don't own their own properties, because it's even really difficult for an institution to get a land from the government.
Wow.
You go through a lot of procedures, a lot of bureaucracy, and sometimes, you know, it becomes difficult for you to even have.
Even
So you know,
for people to learn, it's difficult for you people to have it.
absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. You know, the rent in this country is expensive.
Very
Much
expensive.
more if you go to rent a facility,
Yeah.
and the owner knows that you're coming to put a school there. So what they usually think is, oh, it's a school, so let me charge.
It's a private school too.
Let me charge. So, you know, they charge. So you know these things are there, then they are expensive. You know these people have to pay their staff.
Yeah.
You don't expect the schools, the tertiary institutions, to just lay off their staff like that because they have a contract with them. You don't expect that they just lay off their staff like that. So the little you could do if you care about education is to cater for all the tertiary institutions and bail them out.
Sure.
Just like you bailed out the University of the Gambia, the Gambia College, MDI, and GTTI.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the document that the government has sent to the National Assembly for them to review and approve. Only these 4 institutions are in there.
Oh.
But these are not the only institutions that are churning out, you know, people that go and serve in the public and the private sector.
Sure.
The majority of these people that we depend on, apart from teachers,
Yeah.
you know, that come from the Gambia College, all other sectors,
Sure.
majority of them are coming from the private tertiary institutions. So at least the least you can do is to bail them out,
Yeah.
by also providing them some amount of money,
Yeah.
to say, use this to bail yourself out from the pandemic,
Very
just like you did with the other institutions,
Sure.
the public institutions. And these public institutions, you've been actually paying their salary for them. So this really baffled me. And then you come to the private tertiary institutions. For example, let me take for example at Majak.
Yeah.
Our enrollment rate has always been 20 maximum.
Wow.
20 students per class maximum. We don't go beyond that.
No.
So closing an institution like that defies logic for me, because if you can allow grade 9 students to go to school,
Yeah.
grade 12 students to go to school,
Where you have thousands.
where you have thousands, you know, though you know it's exams and whatever, they're going to observe social distancing, but the same thing could be done. For example, Majak,
Yeah.
we could divide our 20 students to 10 students.
Yeah.
10 come in the morning and another 10 come in the afternoon.
Sure.
You know, it's going to increase our workload as staff and administration, but we can do that.
Sure.
And then continue to receive our tuition fee, and then continue to pay our staff.
Very well.
And the students will not lose out on anything. But then you ask everyone to close without paying heed to the difficulty that it is going to create on the people.
Sure.
And then you continue to bail out institutions. You even bailed out the hotels.
Yeah.
You bail out the music industry.
Sure.
And you forgot about the tertiary institutions.
That is even defending a fundamental right on the Constitution, which is talking about right to education.
And then you telling me that you value education and you value tertiary education? You value skills training in this country? I really don't know.
It's a little weak.
So as far as I know, I am in the conference of directors and managers, but then as far as I know, the government has not done anything for us. In fact, our executive is they're engaging the right stakeholders.
Sure.
To make sure that we are also considered, because we also felt we are left out, and we thought it is not fair. So our executive is engaging, which I am part of. We are engaging the right stakeholders, and I hope they will listen to us and you know, come to our rescue, because we really need the support, the financial support, but also the support to say, start your schools.
Sure.
Make sure you observe all the right protocols to bring people together.
Sure.
Make sure they are 1 meter or 2 meters far from each other.
Very well.
And when they come, make sure they sanitize all the time.
Sure.
Make sure they wear face mask. But then the schools should reopen.
So how about, like, I try to provoke a game here. I understand in Africa here is general, or is a common term we call our leaders being dictators, and that is that sometimes they can be using a veto power to influence certain thing in a state, and it works. If I give you the opportunity now to talk to the president and MPs of this nation to influence them with this statement that you think that will remedy this condition, that will force them anytime they have their sit-ins, they will consider putting a mechanism where they can help tertiary institutions when any of such thing can come, God forbid, things like COVID-19, where some predictions are saying COVID-19 might vanish anytime, but we expect it to happen anytime again. So I'm giving you this opportunity to influence the president directly. Perhaps he's working, or maybe someone may show him this video, that this is a statement coming from you. Let you influence him where he could be in a position like, look, I think I have to put this power. Next week, please locate funds for the tertiary institutions. Or maybe that MP who is watching could use this and raise a motion in the parliament whereby tertiary institutions need to be considered in this area, because they are helping us to defend a clause in the Constitution which is talking about right to education.
Okay, so Mr. President, and of course through the Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, I want to say that I want to begin with that. The Minister of Research, Science, Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology is the ministry that we are under. From the onset, I really think that they were the ones that were supposed to take our plight to the committee responsible, the ministerial committee responsible for COVID-19, and also you know, put our condition before them to say we need to bail out the tertiary institutions. But if they do not see tertiary institutions as part of them, as people that are pivotal in the development of the country, then they shouldn't be in that office. So, Mr. President, here are tertiary institutions that actually most of the time do not have overcrowded classes. Majority of the classes in tertiary institutions sometimes is 20, sometimes is 15, sometimes is even 3, 4, 6 in a class. You know, so what you can do is to say, with strict observation of the regulations, start open the schools and start working. But then you should consider bailing them out and covering the 6 months that they have lost without collecting a penny. Cover it, help pay their salaries for them, help pay their rent for them. It would go a long way in showing that you value tertiary institutions that are in this country. A failure to do this, tertiary institutions, you know, would feel marginalized, will feel left out, will feel that they are not considered, they are not important in society, and I don't think the government should let that happen. So, Mr. President, through the Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, you need to really bail out the tertiary institutions, just like you did with the public institutions that I have mentioned, just like you did with the Ministry of Tourism, the hotels, just like you did with the music industry. So I really think, you know, I hope the message will go down well with them.
I'm sure. I think this is very, very important, because bailing out the hotels here, bailing out the music industry and the like, all these ones will not be functioning, or they will not be heard by the people if they are not passing through the educational system. Most of them have passed the tertiary institutions. If you talk about the hotel school, is a hotel school.
Even the hotel school is closed.
Very well, yeah. You talk about some other industries, like maybe you talk about the music industry, they have to go through writings and stuff. So you must know what is really happening.
If they were taught, you know, in school, they wouldn't have had the knowledge to be able to write music.
Very well. So I think this is very, very important for the government to consider this side. Finally, we almost heading to the end part of the show. I also want to ask, looking at the condition here, because like in the Gambia here, COVID-19 has been something that many people are using as a yardstick. It's because of COVID-19 we are not able to achieve this. It's because of COVID-19 we are not able to do that, and this and that and that. What do you think we can do in this area where we can help some other people that have the belief that COVID-19 is not really in the Gambia here? And do you think we are doing enough as a citizen or as a country to battle COVID-19?
As a country, I don't think we really even have a plan. From the first instant, what we should have done was to have a stakeholder discussion, and then you have a strategic plan that covers every sector. As far as I am concerned, we don't have.
Yes.
And there wasn't also, there wasn't also what we call a crisis communication plan.
No.
Because in a crisis communication plan, you must really use every influencer in society.
Yeah.
When we talk about influencer in society, we're talking about religious leaders. And there is a big there's a big doubt whether most of our religious leaders have actually believed in this, or even propagate for people to observe social distancing or so.
Yeah.
You must use musicians. I don't know whether actually the musicians that sing the songs, the coronavirus song, have been used by the government or they created the songs themselves.
I even received some of them here, and some of them gave a testimony that they haven't seen the phone given.
So that means,
and some names were even mentioned benefited from the phone, said they're not aware of it.
So that actually means that it was not the crisis communication strategy that was used to use the musicians to actually say. You need to use poets. You need to use the women groups, the women leaders in villages. You need to use community leaders in communities, so that they send the message down to the people they represent. Once you do that, you involve the imams from the onset. The imams and pastors and priests, you involve them from the onset. Call them, discuss with them, tell them to go back to their followers, because these people, whenever imams and pastors and priests are like teachers. What a student learns at home, if he comes home and you want to learn what he learned and tell him something else, he says, my teacher did not tell me that.
Very well.
So it's the same. When religious leaders take this and make it theirs, because they believe in it, they know it is there, they know it exists, it would have gone a long way. All this denial we had was because we used a bad strategy. We used a bad strategy to fight against COVID-19. And that's the reason why we had all this denial, and even until today, allergy. I know people, today I was in the car, and then there was these two gentlemen. One of them was dropping, and the other one said, Abal Masa mask. And he gave him the mask.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
A mask that you wore, you wore, and then you are dropping off someone, a friend of yours tells you, Abal Masa mask, and then you give out the mask. So, as far as I am concerned, the government did not do well in communicating COVID. I think the head of state should have stood up, to have been talking to us constantly. It doesn't have to be in English, because as a leader, you need to touch the heart of the people. And to touch the heart of the people, you need to talk to them in the language they understand.
Very well, absolutely.
So in the language they understand, the president can speak Fula very well, can speak Sarahule very well, he can speak Wolof very well, he can speak Mandinka very well. What stops him from using these 4 languages to talk to people about COVID-19 and its possible impact? Maybe we wouldn't have been here. And then again, when these things were in Europe, we should have started the campaign, rigorous campaign in the Gambia, to sensitize people, to let people know that this thing is here and it will spill over. Once it spills over in Europe, it's coming to Africa. And once it gets here, our health care system cannot handle this. That is exactly what happened.
And even with the warning that we've been hearing from them, Africa will suffer most, we couldn't put a clear mechanism or a clear thing that will help us to save from this. My final question to you will be, looking at the Gambia here, we were branded with a word which says we are rebuilding and rebranding our sports system, which is like, especially which was used by the GFF in terms of describing our football team. Do you think we can do something that could help the Gambia? Because Gambia used to be that country that produces great or amazing youngsters. You talk about 2005 in the Gambia, or 2005 in the world. You talk about Gambia, everyone knows the under-17 team. where we have likes of Seni and Sana, Modusisi and the like. And those people that we were playing with are the people we celebrate today as the best players in the world. You talk about Marcelo, who played that league and the like. You talk about in Algeria, we won the trophy. It was hosted in the Gambia, here we did it. But Gambia is no more celebrated, especially at the youth side. And if you talk about football, we are not behind. What must have gone wrong?
So as far as I'm concerned, it has
it's
to
like
do
we're
with
revolving still.
Yeah,
still.
it has to do with a clear blueprint.
Okay.
If you want to develop as a nation in football, you have to have a strategic plan. And the strategic plan, you have to have a short-term plan, a medium plan, and a long-term plan.
Okay.
As far as I know, I don't know for this GFF, but even if they do, I am not privy to these strategic plans, because such plans are national plans, and these national plans should be made known to, for example, the journalists.
Sure.
The journalists should use that as a yardstick to always challenge you, to always push you. But so long as we don't have a short term, a medium term, and a long term plan, we will not be able to achieve what we set ourselves to. In 2005, we were doing well. 2007, 2009, we were doing well at youth level. But what happened? Why couldn't we maintain doing well at youth level now?
Sure.
That begs the question that we don't have a strategy. We don't have a plan. If we do, we would have been following the plan. Sure. The strategic plan will tell you a 10-year development plan. If the Gambia Football Federation puts a 10-year development plan, and then they have a cohort of players and coaches to work on, in 5 years, they will achieve something. In 7 years, in 10 years, it will be totally different. When Senegal hosted the 92, was it 1992 African Cup of Nations?
Yeah.
From there, it took them 10 years, 2002, to get to the World Cup.
Wow.
They laid a plan, they criticized each other, and they got there.
The 2014 World Cup for Germany too, when they set a team 2004, likes of Luma, Muller, Marco Ruiz and the like.
Absolutely, that's how you plan. You must have strategic development plan, a medium, short-term, and a long-term plan.
With that, I think I'm getting an alarm from my technical side that the time is up. I think I will have to bring you back here, Mr. Sang, because you are the type that is so versatile in addressing some of the conditions that we are missing in the Gambia here. Imagine we started a topic, we're revolving on still on the same orbit, we will go into education, come to the sports and still going. We still cannot exist it. And I think my viewers will be like, I think this should not end here. But I promise you soon, I will bring you back in here. We will still focus about sports side and some other areas to where I think you have that can solve every angle in the Gambia here. Thank you so much for coming to the Golden Bee Revolution. And I must attest to you that this has been a great time from having you here. Episode 30 will go a long way in the history of the Golden Bee Revolution. Thank you so much for coming to the Golden Bee Revolution. Like I said from the beginning, it's more going to be like an interview to outsiders, but it is a learning session for me. I learned a lot from you. I love it the way you were deliberating on the questions that I asked to you. I love it the way you handle the case, and I love it the way you are here with me. I am going to have this. I wish I have a photo of this. I will take it as a portrait and I put it in my room, that I have someone who gave me that confidence to go into whatever I want to have in this life, and I am still going on, and I'm so happy that you are here with me today, Mr. Sang. A final message to the people before I give him to say his final words. The Golden Bee Revolution is lucky to be nominated in the Ghana Humanitarian Award, which is going to take place on this 3rd of next month. We're going there to bring the award, hopefully, and like I said on an interview, it is going to be dedicated to Sisi Sawane, but the problem is the Golden Bee Revolution cannot fly because there's nothing in our coffin. If you want to be that good guy that can help us to achieve this big dream, you can contact us on 3147425 to make it happen. The Gambia we shall empower you. Even if drinking is your talent, the Golden Bee Revolution will scout you out, bring you to the global stage, that we call it here. We give it a chance to deliver it, and some will be coming here to teach us how to eat the fufu because we use the spoon instead of our hand. So may I have your final words for you, close?
It's delightful to hear that you're nominated for an award, and I hope that someone, a good Samaritan somewhere, will come to your support to fly to attend that award ceremony, and hopefully bring the award to the Gambia, because you've been doing so well, and I appreciate the fact that you muster the courage to appear on television and do your show. And since you started, this is episode 30. That shows that you have been consistent, and the management of Star TV actually loved what you're doing. So I encourage you to even do more, strive more, watch other people that are way better than you, learn from them. Learning continues every day, but also challenge yourself to be doing better all the time. It's a pleasure really being on this platform, and like you said, I hope it never ended, that we continue talking and talking and talking, but it's good to be here.
So thank you so much, Mr. And that's going to be a bye-bye from my side. Episode 30, you can monitor it on our Facebook page, Gloden Bee Revolution, and also on Star TV's page too. Stay tuned with us. Join us next week. We'll learn so many things. It's still going to be the same topic, how COVID-19 affected our tertiary institutions. You've been at home, wash your hands, wear your mask, avoid crowded places, know that COVID-19 is real. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.